dugsiga boardingka iyo maalinlaha ah ee Amano Boarding and Day School.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Here I am, your biology teacher, Idris Hamid Ahmed. We have been talking about chapter 7, cell biology. Today we're going to talk about polysaccharides, which is another type of carbohydrates. Previously we learned about monosaccharides, which are the simplest type of sugars, and disaccharides, which are type of sugars which contains two monosaccharides joined together by a condensation reaction. Polysaccharides are polymers whose subunits are monosaccharides. A polymer, the word polymer means, poly means money. Poly means money. So this means it is a macromolecule which contains many monosaccharide units combined together by a condensation reaction. They are made by joining many monosaccharide units by a condensation reaction. In our previous lesson, we explained what we mean by a condensation reaction. Condensation reaction means removing of one molecule of water, between the two combining monosaccharide sugars. This is a glucose, for example. So glucose, at the end of this glucose there is OH and hydrogen ions. Then we are going to add another glucose molecule. Here we are going to explain what we mean by a condensation reaction. A condensation reaction. So if you want to combine these two molecules, we should remove one molecule of water from here. So as we know, one molecule of water contains two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. The resulting product will be a disaccharide. So this is one molecule of a disaccharide. Here we have an oxygen. This is the bond which is formed by the condensation reaction that holds the two monosaccharides together. It is called a glycosidic bond. If we keep adding more monosaccharides together in the same way, then what we have is now called a polysaccharide. So a polysaccharide is many monosaccharide units joined together by a condensation reaction. Okay, this is what we have. As we add more and more amino acid units, the final molecule may be several thousand monosaccharides units long, forming a macromolecule. If you can remember, we learned previously the meaning of the word is polymer and a macromolecule. We said a macromolecule is a large molecule which contains many small subunits, and a polymer is a macromolecule, but it contains same subunits. We will see, inshallah, some examples of polymers as well as macromolecules. The most important polysaccharides are starch, which is found in plants, glycogen, which is found in animals, and cellulose, which is found in plant cells. Let's see some importances of these three types of polysaccharides. Starch is the main food storage material of plants. We can also say is the main energy storage for plants. Glycogen is just similar to starch. It is also the main energy storage molecule in animals. So they do have the same function as well as structure, but the difference between them is that starch is found in animals while glycogen is found in plants. Cellulose is the structural material of plant cell walls. Okay, here we have starch, storage polysaccharide. Starch is the most common storage polysaccharide in plants. Which means it's found in plants only. Starch is made up of many glucose molecules joined by condensation reactions. As far as everybody concerns, during photosynthesis, plants produce glucose, but they cannot store glucose in the form of glucose because glucose is a soluble substance. So for plants to store the excess glucose, they convert it into starch, which is an insoluble carbohydrate. So it's commonly found in plants, especially in the leaves where glucose is produced, and in the storage organs. Starch is composed of two different polysaccharides, amylose and amylobactin. It's composed 10 to 30% amylose and 70 to 90% amylobactin. Amylose, the difference between amylose and amylobactin is that amylose is a linear polysaccharide, while amylobactin contains branched carbohydrates or polysaccharides. Number two, amylose is soluble in water, while amylobactin is insoluble in water. So starch is insoluble. This is what makes it insoluble. 90% or 70% of it contains amylobactin, which cannot be dissolved in water. Okay, here we have the structure of starch. You can see there are many glucose molecules joined together by a glycosidic bond. The upper chain shows us an amylose. As I told you before, I said it is a linear. It is what? A linear. But amylobactin, it has some branches. I think you learned organic chemistry, some of the structures or of the carbohydrates. Some can form a linear, some can form branched, some forms, and so on. So this is the main structure of a starch. Okay, let's continue and see what glycogen is. As I told you before, glycogen and starch are the same. They are both the polymers of glucose. The polymers of what? A glucose. But the difference is starch is found in plants while glycogen is found in animals. It's also known as animal starch. It's also known as what? Animal starch, because it does what starch do for plants. It is stored in the muscles and liver. When you eat food which contains starch, most of the starch is converted into glycogen and stored in the muscles and the liver. It contains alpha glucose, which means, as previously we learned, that there are two types of glucose molecules, alpha and beta. So glycogen is composed of alpha glucose. It's completely hydrolyzed to yield glucose. That means it's being broken down to provide glucose. Here you can see the structure of a glycogen. It has both alpha 1,6 and alpha 1,4 linkage. So that's all about what we